The world is full of giant creatures, but some are so massive that they seem almost unbelievable. From a turtle the size of a car to a wolf as big as a bear, these real record-breaking animals were actually caught on camera. Some of them are living legends, while others are remnants of a prehistoric past, pushing the limits of what we thought was possible. But just when you think you've seen it all, nature throws in a surprise. A shark bigger than a boat, a snake longer than a bus. Get ready, because these 15 abnormally large animals will leave you completely speechless. Imagine stumbling upon a turtle so massive that it looks like a prehistoric relic. That's exactly what happened when researchers discovered a gigantic leatherback sea turtle washed up on a beach. This wasn't just any turtle. This beast was estimated to weigh over 2,000 pounds and measured nearly 10 feet long from head to tail. Leatherback turtles are already the largest turtles on Earth, but this one was beyond anything scientists had documented before. Typically, these sea giants max out at around 6 to 7 feet, but this individual shattered expectations. It had scars across its shell, likely from encounters with deep-sea predators or even fishing nets, hinting at an incredible life beneath the waves. What's even more fascinating is that leatherbacks have been around for over 100 million years, surviving mass extinctions that wiped out the dinosaurs. Seeing one of this size raised questions, could even larger ones still be lurking in the unexplored depths of the ocean? And speaking of creatures that seem like they belong to a different era, let's talk about an unbelievably huge wolf that left scientists speechless. Wolves are already intimidating predators, but what if you came face to face with one that was the size of a full-grown grizzly bear? In the remote wilderness of Alaska, a hunter captured shocking footage of a record-breaking grey wolf that measured over 7 feet long from nose to tail and weighed an unbelievable over 200 pounds. To put that into perspective, most grey wolves max out at 100 to 120 pounds, making this specimen nearly twice the average size. When biologists examined the footage, they confirmed that this was one of the largest wolves ever documented in modern history. Some speculated that this wolf could be a remnant of the extinct dire wolf, an Ice Age predator that roamed North America and was much larger than modern wolves. While that theory was dismissed, the discovery proved that supersized wolves still exist today, hidden deep in remote forests. But if you thought a 7-foot-long wolf was shocking, wait until you see an eagle with a wingspan bigger than a grown man's height. Eagles are already majestic birds, but one caught on camera in Argentina left people in complete disbelief. This wasn't an ordinary eagle. This was a harpy eagle, one of the most powerful raptors in the world. What made this one shocking? Its wingspan measured nearly 8 feet across, making it one of the largest eagles ever recorded. When footage surfaced of this bird perched on a tree branch, people mistook it for a human in a costume. That's how massive it looked. Its talons were the size of grizzly bear claws, capable of snatching full-grown monkeys out of trees with ease. Harpy eagles are rare, but this individual was on another level. Experts believe this eagle likely reached such an enormous size due to an abundance of prey and a lack of competition in its territory. The fact that birds this size still exist in the wild is a reminder that nature still holds some jaw-dropping surprises. And speaking of unexpected giants, let's talk about a catfish so massive that fishermen thought they had hooked a monster. It started as an ordinary fishing trip on the Mekong River, but what these fishermen pulled out of the water was anything but normal. After a grueling 2-hour battle, they finally reeled in a catfish that weighed over 600 pounds and stretched over 9 feet long, a new record for the largest freshwater fish ever caught. This was a Mekong giant catfish, a species already known for its enormous size, but this specimen was on another level. With a mouth wide enough to swallow a basketball whole, its sheer presence left even experienced fishermen in shock. Biologists who examined the fish were stunned. It was likely several decades old, having avoided predators and fishing nets for years. Unfortunately, because of habitat destruction and overfishing, catfish of this size are becoming incredibly rare. But just when you think you've seen the biggest predator, let's talk about a lion so massive it changed what we thought was possible. Lions are often called the kings of the jungle, but one particular lion lived up to that title like no other. In the 1930s, hunters in South Africa encountered a lion that was so large it seemed unreal. When they finally weighed the beast, the scale read a staggering 690 pounds, making it the heaviest lion ever recorded. For context, the average male lion weighs between 300 and 400 pounds, meaning this one was nearly twice the normal size. It wasn't just its weight that was shocking. This lion had a massive dark mane that made it appear even more imposing. Researchers believe this particular lion had access to an abundance of prey, allowing it to grow far beyond the typical size limits. Some even speculate that if left in the wild, it could have grown even bigger. But if you think a 690-pound lion is impressive, wait until you hear about a gigantic squid that appeared where no one expected it. The ocean is filled with mysteries, but few are as terrifying as the colossal squid. For decades, scientists debated whether true giant squid were real or just myths, until one washed up on a beach in New Zealand that was so massive it left researchers stunned. This colossal squid measured over 40 feet long and weighed nearly 1,100 pounds. That's longer than a school bus and heavier than a grand piano. Its tentacles were lined with hooks, and its eyes were as big as dinner plates, allowing it to hunt in the pitch-black depths of the ocean. What's even more unsettling is that experts believe even bigger squids are still out there, lurking in the deep trenches where no cameras have reached. If this one reached such an enormous size, who's to say there isn't a squid twice as large waiting to be discovered? And speaking of record-breaking giants, wait until you hear about a horse so tall it made normal stallions look tiny. Most people have seen big horses, but none compare to Big Jake, the tallest horse in history. This Belgian draft horse stood at an astonishing 6 feet 10 inches tall at the shoulder and weighed over 2,500 pounds. He was literally the size of a Clydesdale on steroids. Big Jake's sheer size made him a celebrity, but his gentle personality made him even more legendary. His owners had to build custom stalls and reinforced fences, as standard enclosures couldn't contain a horse of his mass. Even full-grown men looked child-sized standing next to him. What's shocking is that despite his towering height, Big Jake wasn't overweight. His size was purely genetic, proving that some horses are just born to be giants. But if you think a horse nearing 7 feet tall is impressive, wait until you see a crab that could easily reach out and grab your leg. Imagine walking along the ocean floor and suddenly seeing giant spindly legs creeping toward you. That's exactly what deep-sea divers experienced when they encountered the biggest Japanese spider crab ever recorded. With a leg span of over 12 feet, this monstrous crab looked like something from a horror movie. To put that into perspective, its legs stretched wider than a king-sized bed. But despite its terrifying appearance, the Japanese spider crab is actually not aggressive at all. It simply roams the ocean floor scavenging food. What's even more shocking is that these crabs can live for over 100 years, meaning some of the largest ones alive today could have been crawling around when the Titanic sank. But if deep-sea creatures like this can grow to record sizes, imagine what happens when an alligator gets way bigger than anyone expects. Florida is no stranger to alligators, but in 2015, a group of hunters stumbled upon an absolute monster. When they finally managed to take it down and measure it, the numbers were staggering. This beast was over 15 feet long and weighed more than 1,000 pounds. Most alligators max out at around 11 to 12 feet, meaning this one was in a league of its own. Even more terrifying, its massive jaw was filled with razor-sharp teeth, and biologists estimated it could easily crush bones with a single bite. What's even crazier, some experts believe there could be even bigger alligators lurking deep in swamps, far from human contact. If this one survived for so long undetected, how many more are out there? And speaking of unexpectedly huge animals, let's talk about a moose so massive it made trucks look small. Moose are already among the largest land animals in North America, but one particular Alaskan bull moose made headlines when it was caught on camera standing taller than an SUV. This enormous moose stood nearly 10 feet tall at the shoulders. That's not including its massive antlers, which stretched over 6 feet wide. When the footage first surfaced, many people thought it was fake, but biologists confirmed that this was a real, living animal. To put things into perspective, this moose could have easily looked a grizzly bear in the eye. With its gigantic frame and towering antlers, it looked like something out of the Ice Age. If moose are growing to these extreme sizes, just imagine how big other predators can get. Speaking of which, wait until you see the biggest crocodile ever captured. Crocodiles are already terrifying predators, but none have ever matched the sheer size of a monster known as lolong. This saltwater crocodile, caught in the Philippines in 2011, measured an unbelievable 23 feet long and weighed over 2,300 pounds, making it the largest crocodile ever officially recorded. Lolong was so massive that when villagers first spotted him, they thought he was a log floating in the water until they saw it move. It took over 100 men to pull this beast out of the river, and when they finally managed to measure him, experts were stunned. For years, there had been rumors of crocodiles this big, but no one had ever seen one up close. The shocking part? Some locals claim they've seen even bigger crocodiles lurking in remote waterways, meaning Lolong might not be the biggest one out there. And if a crocodile this massive is possible, wait until you hear about a stingray so large it looked like a living UFO. Rivers aren't exactly where you'd expect to find monstrous creatures, but that's exactly where fishermen in Cambodia caught the largest freshwater stingray ever recorded. This beast weighed nearly 660 pounds and measured over 13 feet long from nose to tail. When the fishermen first felt the weight on their line, they thought they had snagged a sunken log, until the creature started moving. The stingray was so massive that it took multiple people to pull it to shore. What's even more mind-blowing is that this species can grow even bigger. Some researchers believe there could be stingrays over 15 feet long lurking in deep rivers, completely unseen by humans. And speaking of record-breaking creatures, let's talk about a snake so long it left scientists in disbelief. Snakes are already the stuff of nightmares for many people, but imagine coming across one over 30 feet long. That's exactly what happened in Malaysia, when workers at a construction site uncovered the longest reticulated python ever recorded. This snake measured a jaw-dropping 32 feet long, longer than a school bus. It was so massive that it took multiple people just to lift it. Reticulated pythons are known for their incredible size, but this one shattered records. What's even crazier is that pythons never stop growing, meaning if this one had lived longer, it could have gotten even bigger. Experts believe there could be pythons in the wild that are even longer, hiding deep in jungles where humans rarely go. But if you think a snake over 30 feet long is terrifying, wait until you see a shark so massive it made boats look tiny. Sharks have always been feared, but one record-breaking great white shark took fear to a whole new level. In 2015, researchers in Mexico's Guadalupe Island captured footage of a 20-foot-long great white shark, later nicknamed Deep Blue. This massive predator wasn't just long, it was also incredibly thick, weighing an estimated 5,000 pounds. For reference, most great whites max out at 15 feet, making Deep Blue an absolute giant. Even more chilling, Deep Blue wasn't alone. Scientists believe the ocean still holds even bigger sharks, possibly descendants of the prehistoric megalodon, lurking in deep waters where few humans venture. And if sharks this massive exist today, just imagine how big bears used to get. Speaking of which, let's talk about the largest bear to ever walk the earth. Bears are already some of the most powerful land predators, but nothing compares to the South American short-faced bear, the largest bear species to ever exist. This prehistoric giant stood an unbelievable 12 feet tall on its hind legs and weighed over 2,500 pounds, making it bigger than a modern-day polar bear. Fossils show that this monster bear had long limbs, allowing it to run faster than any bear today, making it one of the top predators of its time. Some scientists even believe it could take down fully grown bison with ease. Even though the short-faced bear is long extinct, some researchers speculate that massive undiscovered bears could still exist in the deep forests of North America. Could something even larger than this prehistoric giant still be out there? If these real-life giants prove anything, it's that nature is still full of surprises. But the real question is, what else is out there? Could there be an even bigger crocodile, a longer snake, or an undiscovered beast waiting to be found? The world is vast, and if these creatures are any indication, we might not have seen the largest of them yet. Subscribe to the channel and see you soon.